I recently made a vlog where I was studying Italian and Greek, but just like I said in that video, my language learning routine on most days doesn't involve me actually sitting at my desk. I simply don't have time for that. But I do want to prioritize language learning, which is why a lot of it happens on the go or during my dead time. This is why I wanted today's video to be a more accurate representation of my routine. So here I will show you what I actually do for my languages from the moment I wake up until I go to bed, on most days anyway. It's not a perfect routine by any means, but it's what has been working for me. And just FYI, I'm currently focusing on Italian, trying to maintain my Spanish and explore some Greek. And with that being said, let's begin. For the past 2 months or so, I've been starting most of my days listening to Italian podcasts. I do it while I get dressed, brush my teeth, wash my face, make breakfast, all that stuff. My favorite right now is Podcast Italiano, but I'm honestly getting a little worried because the host hasn't been super active when it comes to releasing new episodes, and I am dangerously close to finishing all of the existing ones, well, at least the ones that interest me. And then breakfast. Breakfast is Duolingo time. As I have mentioned in my previous videos, I am currently trying to slowly build the foundation in Greek so that when I'm ready to switch my focus from Italian to Greek, I already have some knowledge of basic grammar patterns and vocabulary. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. Also, I really am a creature of habits and routines, so I always assign consumption of certain media to certain activities. For example, brushing my teeth is podcast time. Breakfast, Duolingo. Washing the dishes, podcasts again. Walking the dog, audiobooks. I find that this allows me to have some variety in the types of media I consume without having to constantly be making decisions about what I'm doing next. By the way, speaking of the dog, this is Max, and he makes sure I maintain my Spanish by listening to audiobooks. I usually walk him in the morning for like 40 to 50 minutes, and this is pretty much the only time I do something for my Spanish that is planned or scheduled in advance. The book that I'm listening to right now is called Tengo que morir todas las noches, and it's a chronicle of gay and underground culture in Mexico in the 80s. It is super interesting, but to be completely honest with you, it's kind of hard to read for someone like me whose attention span is embarrassingly short, because the book constantly introduces new characters, and basically what happens is I get distracted for like 30 seconds looking at a bird or something like that, and then I go back to the book and I have no idea what's going on. I heard there's going to be a show based on the book, so maybe I'll watch that at some point to kind of fill in the gaps, but for now I guess it is what it is. Okay, now that I'm back, it's time to clean up my desk before I start working and plan my language studies for the week. I would love to be the person who plans out her language sessions for every single day of the week in advance, but I know that there will be days when I don't feel like sticking to the plan, and then I'll end up doing nothing at all because I feel like I have to stick to the plan, but I don't want to, and then I get sort of paralyzed and, like I said, end up doing nothing at all. So what I do instead is I list all of the activities that I would like to get to that particular week, and then every single day I choose something from that list. By the way, I only do it for my main languages because for Spanish, as I said, it's mostly audiobooks, and for Greek, I'm only using Duolingo, so I don't really need to plan anything for those languages. Okay, it's lunchtime now, which means that I'm going to start cooking and listen to a podcast or a video while doing it. Here, I'm watching a video by Alessandro De Concini, who is what's called divulgatore in Italian, and I think it translates to something like popularizer of science or science communicator in English. Basically, what he does is he makes videos on the science of learning backed up by actual research from the field of neuroscience. And the video that I'm watching is actually perfect for someone who's learning Italian because he's commenting on a video by Elizabeth Phillips, who is an English-speaking YouTuber. So you first get to hear her speak English, then he summarizes what she said in Italian for his audience, and then he actually comments on what she says. Okay, my lunch is done. Remember before I said that I pair different activities with certain types of media? Well, for some reason, I really need visual stimulation when I eat. Like, I can't just listen to a podcast or even watch a video where there's not much going on, which is why I decided to start watching a new show on Lingo. In case you didn't know, Lingo, who's the sponsor of today's video, is an online platform for language learners like you and I that offers video content in different languages. They currently have content in Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, German, and Russian. And it's not just movies or shows, there's also documentaries, there's podcasts, there's audiobooks, but what makes it truly great for people who are learning languages is their interactive subtitles. So whenever you're watching something and you find a word or a phrase that you don't know, you can simply click on that word and see the translation. All of the words that you click on will also be automatically saved to your collection, and you can later review them as flashcards or test yourself by taking a quiz. Also, as someone who started learning Italian because of music, I really enjoy the fact that they also have different playlists and you can discover new music in your target language or listen to your favorite songs and see the lyrics or the translation or both at the same time. If you want to try Lingo, you can do so using their free 7-day trial. And if you decide that you like it, the link in the description box will also give you a 55% discount. Going back to my routine, as you can see, a lot of my language learning is associated with activities that I already have to do. I have to eat, right? So that means I have to cook, which in turn means that I can listen to something while I'm preparing food. I think James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, calls it habit bundling, which basically means pairing a habit that you want to do with a habit that you already do. And I find it really convenient because, again, languages or no languages, I will spend time on cooking, so why not pair it with some immersion? But I also think it's easy to fall into this trap of trying to make every single second of your day productive, so I try to be careful with that and only do the activities that I genuinely enjoy doing and only when I feel like it. Okay, fast forward a couple of hours and I'm done with work for today, and it seems like I actually have some time to sit down and study. This doesn't happen every day though. Sometimes I go to the gym in the evening or decide to read something in English, and that leaves me virtually no time for serious language learning. But I'm skipping gym today, so I'm going to first learn and review vocabulary on Closemaster, an app that I talk about literally in every single one of my videos. And then I'll try to study a bit with this new textbook that I got at a book sale last weekend. By the way, I'm also sparing you the sight of me going to the kitchen again, this time to make dinner, but you can already guess that I was listening to podcasts while cooking. So this is one of the new books that I got at a book sale that we had last week. It's called Easy Italian Reader, and it's divided into 3 parts. The first part is for beginners, and it's basically a story of an American high school student whose family moved to Italy, which is not very exciting, I know. But the second part is more difficult, and it talks about Italian history. And then the third part, I think, contains actual Italian literature written for Italians. So far, I'm really liking the book, especially because it allows me to combine my favorite activities like reading or listening with activities that I don't practice that often, such as writing.
Ammira molto suo padre. È molto orgogliosa di lui.
I am now done with my reading session, and the whole thing only took like 35 minutes or so, which is not bad. As far as reading goes, I have recently started using Lingo, mostly for reading articles in Italian, and honestly, I have no idea why it took me so long to finally start using it. However, because I already have done some studying for today, I don't really feel like reading right now, so I'm just going to look for some articles that I can send to Lingo and read them later this week. And then at around 10:30, I'll start getting ready for bed, which is when I'll either listen to something or watch something. But since I've started this new show on Lingo, I think I'll just continue watching it until I decide it's time for me to call it a day. And that was it for my language learning routine. I would say this video actually turned out to be a very accurate representation of what I do on most days, and just by watching it you can make certain assumptions about my learning habits and possibly even the state of my language skills. For example, one thing that you did not see me do much is practice active skills like speaking or writing, and as a result, when it comes to Italian right now, I can honestly say I suck at those skills much more than, let's say, at listening or reading. And sometime soon I will have to start thinking about how or if I even want to start working on those skills. But for the time being, I choose to prioritize comprehension, and I really hope to start reading and listening to more native content in the nearest future, as opposed to content created for people who are learning Italian. I'm also curious, what does your routine look like? Do you even have one, or do you guys prefer going with the flow and doing things spontaneously? I would really appreciate if you let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and for the 5K, by the way, thank you so much. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!